And welcome back to the Old Gab Box radio show and podcast, brought to you by Casa de Campo, our friends in the Dominican Republic. Pete Dye, the late great golf course architect, built 4 awesome golf courses there, and Teeth of the Dog is the best of the 4. His ashes are sprinkled on the 7th hole, by the way. He loved it so much. Jerry Pate has done a complete redo. It needed the greens, the tee boxes, etc. Reopens in December. I'll be down. I invite you to join me. Go to Casa de Campo. And our next guest, Josh Booty, former LSU quarterback. I mean, come on, Josh. You've played at Casa de Campo, haven't you?
I have a couple of times, and
There you
they
go.
were two of the best trips I've ever made in my life. Just being on the property inside the gates. It's as you know, it's a huge complex, a fun resort beach. We did the boating, we did the golf.
Yeah.
I've taken my family down there, I've taken brothers down there, I've taken friends down there, and every time it's just an absolute blast. So one of the great places in the world. I wish I had a house there. It's that good.
All right. Well, come on down in December, man. They're cutting the ribbon, and we'll go play a little bit on the Teeth of the
I'd
Dog.
love
How about
to.
that?
Yeah, don't pull my don't you ain't gonna have to pull me too hard in that direction.
Although you've been playing so much golf, you play more golf than like Rory McIlroy all over the world. I don't want to play with you. I don't want to gamble with you because you're too good right now. I just know because I see your pictures every day.
You know what? I never go to the range. That's my problem. I need to putt a little better. My chipping's not too sweet. I can get it. I can get it going a little bit off the tee, but I'm a 1-4 right now, and I wish I could get down a little lower than that because
Wow.
I play with a lot of David Toms who was a PGA champion and
Yeah.
and a guy I looked up to growing up. He was 6, 7 years older than me, and so I've always been around it. My dad didn't play it, and I played football and baseball, other sports. So I never really got into it till I was in college. But man, I wish I could go back and have those days when I was a kid with David Toms and learn really how to play the game at a young age. That's what I tell my down the road, especially with networking and business opportunities and stuff like that. And that's why I do a lot of my golfing.
Yeah. Well, now that I found out your handicap, we may do a little gambling, Josh. I think I can. I think I can work a nice deal with you. All right, let's talk a little LSU Alabama. Big week coming up. Obviously for Alabama, they're trying to keep it together. They've been on a phenomenal run. I think the week off helped them, but a lot of turmoil at LSU, your school, my friend. I mean, my goodness, still a lot of good players at LSU. But what do you make of the situation right now with the football program? Somewhat of a tumultuous deal, isn't it?
Yeah, I hate to see a coach get fired in the middle of the season. We've seen coaches already in the SEC get fired. Hugh Freeze this week, Napier 3 weeks ago. It's kind of par for the course if your team isn't succeeding. The media gets behind the fan base and really pushes on these guys hard. It makes it very hard on athletic directors and fan bases and the foundations at the school to keep these guys around when no one's happy and everybody wants to voice their opinion. So I hate it for Brian Kelly. I'm not a huge Brian Kelly fan, and a lot of things are coming out this week. We talked off the air a little bit about some of the stories that we're hearing now about Brian Kelly in particular, and they weren't positive. And I think that's where the fan base and the Tiger Athletic Foundation there at LSU really got behind. We do this is going to hurt us financially, but it's hurting us in more ways than not if we don't do it. And I think that was the I guess the telltale of the situation was they're not. No one's happy. Stories are coming out of the woodworks. Been even some improper relations with a girl, and I don't know if you've seen some of this stuff, but it might come out even sooner rather than later too. And I just think it wasn't going in a positive direction. We lost 3 games in a row after being number 2 in the country at a certain point of the season behind Ohio State, and then we've got Bama on the road. 5-3, and now got to go to Bama as 11.5 underdogs. I just think it could go both ways too at Alabama. The guys could really come together, and there could be some morale that brings them even closer together, and they might play harder because of the fact that their back is against the wall a little bit. And everybody's talking about who's going to be the next coach, and you got those interim guys, Frank Wilson, and that staff that wants to make a statement. Not that he would keep that job, but that he would be considered for a job somewhere else at a higher level, or be able to keep a job with another university. I mean, those guys, everybody's scratching and clawing and fighting for positioning right now for probably next year on that staff. So You're going to see them play hard. Whether they can weather a huge storm at Bama because Bama's playing great, I don't know. LSU hadn't run the ball effectively. The defense didn't look great, in particular against A&M. We had chances to get off the field, and never did. That quarterback just kind of took us to school. Marcel Reed, he was
Yeah.
awesome in that game. So I just think Ty is the best quarterback in the conference right now at Alabama. So it's going to be tough. He doesn't turn the ball over. Alabama is playing well, but there's been a couple games where I've watched them too that could have gone the other way. So it'll be interesting to see if LSU can kind of hold things together and make it a game.
It is a head scratcher because you can always count on LSU having a great running game, which opens up the play action pass, and you have those great wide receivers. And it was just kind of that's what they did every year. But it really is perplexing that LSU cannot run the ball. The offensive line just hasn't done a great job this year. I guess it boils down to that, X's and O's, right?
I think, 2 years ago we had Jaden Daniels, and he won the Heisman Trophy. And that year,
He was
campaign
good.
he had was unbelievable in terms of how LSU rushed the football. But it was so unorthodox because he ran around like a road runner, right? And he made all the plays. It wasn't a traditional run game that we've seen LSU over the past decade or two kind of deliver in terms of offensively. And I think, Nussmeier is not that type of runner. They had to go back to the traditional run game that we've always kind of been known for. And LSU had gotten away from it a little bit too much with Jaden. And so they had to kind of go back to the drawing board. We had two guys like Will Campbell, first rounder for the Patriots, left tackle,
Yeah.
blocking for Drake May's blind side. I mean, he was with us last year and we didn't even run the football well. So it's a culture problem a little bit, I think, right now at LSU. And we've got to get back to the basics and run the football more effectively and get in those second down and manageable situations. If we try to run the ball, we get behind on down and distance in terms of percentages and what how offenses like to run, or we can't be in 2nd and 10 all the time, or 2nd and 9, or 2nd and 8. We've got to do well on first down if we're going to decide to run the football. So it's just been tough on us, man. Nussmeier's had to do a lot himself through the air, and we've had some receivers injured too in the last month. So I just think the balance is key for us. Just like every other team in the SEC, Alabama and Georgia and everybody else who's been on the top, LSU when they've had their good seasons, it's been because we've been able to run the football and have balance. And that happens in all those offenses that are good. Ohio State last year with the two tailbacks.
Yeah.
Georgia in the past with their run game. If you have that run game you can rely on, man, it makes it a whole lot easier for quarterback. And so Nussmeier is struggling a little bit with that because he's always in tough situations.
Josh, it's interesting. And your coach, Coach Saban, was there. I mean, that's like 20 years ago now. Man, wow, time's flying by. But listen, he made a comment last week, I think it was in the Pat McAfee show, in regards to Lane Kiffin, where he said, listen, he goes, he doesn't think the LSU program and the Florida program are better stops than Ole Miss right now. He said the way modern day football is, he goes, Kiffin really has a better situation than Ole Miss, mainly because he's the guy. And at LSU, you have to answer to a lot of people, and at Florida, you answer to a lot of people. I mean, you obviously agree with that, right?
Yeah, I do to a certain degree. I think expectations are not as high
Yes.
by the average fan. I mean, I think, what Kiffin's done to bring Ole Miss to having those 10-win seasons that they'd never had before in their program history to where they're at now, where they want to win a national championship. They want to go to a college football playoff scenario and go to those games, those big games. Their thinking is different than LSU. LSU's is, we want to be number one. We want to beat Bama. We want to be the best team in the country. And when we lose 2-3 games in a row, maybe 4 with Bama after this weekend, if we take another L, I mean, that's just, our fans they start losing interest, and because they're so used to we've won 3 national championships in the last 20 years, and I don't think LSU's program is the best college football program in America, because it's not, but I do think the expectations are much higher at LSU and Florida than they are Ole Miss, of course. So I mean, Florida's won several national championships in the last couple of decades with Urban Meyer. So I think, I just think that if I was Lane, why go and take a position at Florida to where you're beating those teams right now? Lane Kiffin beat us. So, I mean, why would you make that move? You're comfortable. You got everything set for you. You've got good recruits. He's got the quarterback room stacked. He's been able to recruit great quarterbacks. We know that. Why change? I mean, when you look at all the schools that have openings right now, whether it's Auburn or Penn State or whatever, LSU, Florida are the two teams that I think are the top two because they're in the SEC. But you play the toughest schedule, and the fan expectations are the highest, right? Penn
Yes.
State, they haven't won a national championship in a long time, and even though that's a football program in a big scenario environment with 100-something thousand people, their fans don't have as high as expectations as LSU and Florida do, and that's just because they play in the SEC. They have to go up against the big boys every other week, and it's a tougher schedule. So it's fun to watch and see how these things are going to play out. I think Brian Kelly could end up at Penn State. You know, I don't know where Lane's going to end up, but why leave Ole Miss? I think that'd be crazy for him to try to do. And if he doesn't have success the first 3 years at Florida, they're going to be wanting another guy. So why not hang your hat on where you're at when you're having a lot of success? You don't need to move around. Grass is not always greener, but he might try and do that. I played for Kiffin. I know he's got, he wants to win a national championship. He wants to be the guy, right? And
Right.
he's reinvented himself. He's good for the modern game. He knows the NIL game. He knows the portal game. Yeah, I think he can win wherever he goes.
You know, Josh, it is interesting, and I just wonder your perspective now on the LSU job. They went for the Grand Slam with Brian Kelly, the Notre Dame coach. They got him. Didn't work out. Do you turn to a coordinator now? Do you turn to John Sumrall at Tulane? I mean, you hired the Tulane coach at LSU. Which direction do they go? Because would the fans be happy with a coordinator? Would they be happy with the Tulane? I don't know what's going on at LSU, and I don't know who's making that decision now.
I don't know what's going on either. And I've had opportunities to do several shows in the last few days based on all the stuff that's happening. And I think they're just going to let this thing play out a little bit more. I think there's time. They think they've got a little time. Don't make an irrational decision and think you need to hire someone in the first week or two of Brian Kelly getting canned. Take your time. Do it right. Let it be more methodical. Let's think about next year. Let's think about the next 5 to 10 years, not just thinking about next week and thinking about what you're going to come out with to the public. Like, let the public sit there and think about it a little bit. I like Joe Brady. I like the Vandy coach, Clark Lee. I like the Freeman at Notre Dame. I think we should have got Freeman instead of Kelly at Notre Dame when all that stuff was happening. I think he would relate to our players better. And to the culture better. I think you got to have someone that can really relate to the culture of Louisiana and can recruit. The Tulane guy, he's been around Louisiana. He knows the high school coaches, every one of them in the state, because he's recruited that area and he's done well with what he has. I think you either got to go get a huge name or someone that's done more with less and bring them in. That's just my opinion. But Joe Brady was there in 2019. For God's sakes, he's coaching the Buffalo Bills and they're winning on Sundays. And, everybody knows he's got Josh Allen, but that offense, they don't have a lot of stinking weapons on the outside. Josh Allen makes a lot of plays, but Joe Brady's been able to go in there after the loss of Stephon Diggs and make that offense just keep it exactly like running like a machine. So I think a guy like Joe Brady would be fun to bring back. I know the players loved him, but he's never been a head coach and he's young, and we'll see. I don't know. I don't know where this thing could go. I know there's probably a list of 10 or 12 guys, and I wish I was helping them make the decision, but I'm not. I'm going to play golf and try to learn how to chip and putt.
It is interesting, Josh. I mean, Auburn's open now. Obviously, Florida, LSU, Arkansas, Kentucky could come open. South Carolina, Shane Beamer's already said, listen, if you're not happy, I'll be glad to leave. I mean, this could be like major turnover in the Southeastern Conference at the end of the season.
I know, it's crazy. I think, that's why we tune in and watch
all the
talk shows and why we watch on Saturdays, because the stakes are so high. If Texas weren't to go on the run the last 2 or 3 weeks that they've been on, we'd be talking about them. They lost at Florida, right? They could have gone into and we'd be talking about Sarkisian right now if they had another loss or two, right? I mean, so no one's really, really safe, Gone are the days of Nick Saban, really, to be honest with you. Kirby Smart's probably the only one that's safe in the conference when you really think about it. And Lane probably as well because of what he's done at Ole Miss the last few years. Other than that, everybody's vulnerable. These programs, they've got to really, they've got to win, and they've got to win now. And so I hope LSU finds a guy that can help them win early, but win for the next 5 or 10 years. We've had a lot of coaches over the last years, and we shouldn't have to move around that much and have this much tumultuous times in terms of who are we going to have as a coach. This has happened 3 or 4 times since Les Miles, and so it's crazy that we're going through this again.
Coach O said he'd come back.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have him back. It would be fun to have him, on the 50-yard line with the headset again, but I just don't see that happening. I love Coach O to death, but I think his time at LSU's passed.
It probably has. Well, looking forward to the game on Saturday. As you mentioned, Alabama 11.5-point favorite over LSU. It's been a long time since either team was a double-digit favorite going into that game, but LSU's lost 3 in a row, so we shall see. All right. Booty, where you playing golf next? What's next tee time?
I'm going to be Thursday in Orlando at Alworth. So I'm headed to Alworth. That's another good one on Thursday. And then back home to Fort Lauderdale on Friday. But I've been traveling on the West Coast. I did Black Desert in Utah last week.
I saw that. That looked awesome.
Incredible. Yeah. I'm telling you, that's one of the best places I've been in a long time. And I love Utah golf. I think it's one of the best states for golf that people don't really know about yet. And especially for the Southeastern Conference guys, Utah is an unbelievable place to play golf. We all think about Scottsdale and California, but Utah golf has come a long ways. And so it's fun to take some of these trips west and get out of the Southeastern Conference to play a little golf sometimes.
Although the temp right now in South Florida is really nice. Where do you play in Lauderdale when you're down there?
So I play a lot at Fort Lauderdale Country Club in Coral Ridge, and I'm a part of Madison Capital Group. It's a real estate group, and our founder, who's one of my good buddies, Ryan Hanks, he's opening up High Grove in the middle of the state, and Gil Hans is doing it. It's a super private course. It's on a sand ridge with orange groves. I'll send you some pictures. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. You got to come and play it. It opens December 15th.
I love it.
So we'll have to go first quarter of this year to play it, but I'm going to take a lot of potential investors down there and guys that want to play golf and want to enjoy a great place to play, and that's how we're going to network. So this place is going to be fantastic, and I think it's a top 5 place in Florida. You mentioned Seminole, Calusa Pines, Sawgrass. This is going to be up there, with Stream Song and some of the best courses in the state.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, I said it at the beginning and I'll say it here at the end. You play more golf globally than Rory McIlroy. I don't think there's any question.
I was at Sabonic the week before in the Hamptons and the week before the Ryder Cup, and he was playing in front of me.
Really?
So I don't play as many good golf courses as him, but I was playing right behind him.
And he's a small guy stature wise. Most golfers are, but it truly is amazing how powerful he is. It's incredible.
His leverage for his size is incredible. It's incredible. It's fun to watch. And
yeah,
a lot of those guys that are small can absolutely smash the golf ball. And my swing. I've got a baseball swing, so I come out of it a little bit, and I try to kind of got to guide it sometimes. I don't like that. He just lets it go.
Well, he tucks that shoulder underneath his chin and gets that turn, and it just creates torque that is just awesome to watch.
I'm 50 now, so that baseball torque I used to have.
I'm with you.
It isn't all there anymore.
I'm trying. I work out every day, but that torque's just not there.
Exactly, but no, he's one of the funnest to watch, man. It's just these guys are so freaking good, and I play with a lot of guys that are +4s and +5s. I run into all these buddies that are really good golfers. I'm like, they're really good, but they're not even close to as good as those guys are. You know what I'm saying? Those guys are so stinking good. They can shoot 62 any day they want to shoot it. And it just depends on how bad, how much they're really paying attention to the golf course that day. They can go as low as they want. It's fun. I got a chance to play with Furyk a couple of weeks ago at Sage Valley. And I don't think he missed a shot. And I'm like, he's my age, you know what I'm saying? And he's hitting the ball. He don't miss a shot. And I'm like, that's pretty impressive. I played with Daly. He shot 66, no bogeys about 6 months ago. I'm like, it's just incredible, right? But when Daly goes out on tour, he's not going to win those tournaments because, 4 days of trying to do that and walking and all that's very difficult for him at his age. But they can still just, golf their ball off. And I'm like, man, there's a big difference between regular golfers and those guys.
Major champions.
That's right. Unbelievable.
When you put a major up on the wall there, you're like, hey, he's pretty good. Pretty good. All right,
Yeah,
Josh.
yeah, they're studs.
We appreciate it, buddy. Safe travels. I'll follow you on social media. You do the same, but I like your social media better because
Yeah, right.
I'm like you're at a different golf course every day.
Like I said, I keep up with you, my man. You are the man, brother.
Thanks,
Let's go
Josh.
to Casa de Campo, Teeth of the Dog.
We're
Let's do
there
it.
in
Love you,
December, buddy.
brother.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
See
love
ya.
you. Thank
Bye.
you.